y'all. So I'm back for another review of Growing Up Hip Hop. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel, especially if you're watching the videos. Because I have all these watch hours that are increasing, but I don't have as many subscribers. So please be sure to do that. And thank you to all of you who have. Anyway, so here's the review for Growing Up Hip Hop Season 7, Episode 6, Mending Fences. So TT and Peppa sit down, and I kind of remember them last season having had like I'm still on the high, y'all. I got Beyonce tickets. Hi. Um, I remember them kind of having a sit down, but I felt like it was really forced last season, so I didn't really believe it. Apparently they've been repairing their relationship. And Peppa's TT's aunt, so she's getting neck surgery. They're sitting down together, talking, and Peppa looks like she's had more surgery to her face, and I'm just like, girl, chill. TT's heard about Egypt's pregnancy, and they're just laughing and joking. So Peppa says in the confessional, she says, look, I just really want their relationship between TT and Egypt to go back to normal. And I'm thinking to myself, Peppa, you ought to be ashamed of yourself for the fact that this relationship got this bad in the first place. And that Tretch, quite frankly, led the way. Your ex-husband, who's not TT's blood uncle, but her uncle, all right, nevertheless had to push this effort forward. All right? You should have never let the rift between Egypt and TT get that big. As the elder, as the person who knew better. By taking Sam's side with his lies and his bullshit about TT wanting Sam and how she tried to drop her clothes in front of him and shit like that. You should have shut that shit down then. And it was clear Egypt wasn't totally convinced of it. She just didn't want to disappoint Sam by not backing up his bullshit lies. Okay? TT said she doesn't know if she wants to go to Egypt's wedding. And I was like, didn't they already have one now? But I guess they having like a real wedding because they did that LA thing. That was stupid. You should have waited. Anyway. And TT was like, I don't know if I want to go because it still doesn't sit right with me. TT, trust your intuition. Because there are plenty of other people watching this show like myself, and I think the same thing. Okay, anyway, so Sequoia and her corny ass cousin, I still don't know his name. And I probably could pay more attention, but just something about him just is so corny to me. Like, not even like, oh, I hate him. I just think he's just a fucking cornball. Anyway, so Sequoia is steady trying to keep her camera time this season. Have y'all noticed? She kind of looks like, you know who else she kind of looks like? She kind of looks like Sebastian from A Little Mermaid. It's just something about her face. I don't know what it is. And I'm not calling her ugly even. It's just like, she just looks like several characters. Anyway, so Cree is supposed to be helping with this 50th hip hop event that her cousin's asking her if she wants to perform. And Sequoia says, well, she doesn't know if she wants to be part of it. One, because she's still beefing with Lazy about him dating her mother. She's still beefing with her mother about her dating Lazy. And then Cree is supposed to be organizing it, and Cree can't get along with nobody. Cree, I'm telling you, this show is not a good look for you. I really had high hopes for you the first season you were on. I was like, you know what? She brings something different. Now you just a bone carrier. Anyway, so she talks to her cousin about her and Twist, and we get her in the confession talking about, how they've been flirting and how she likes him. And she said, although I do feel like a hypocrite for liking him after I said women can't trust rappers. And I said this to my mom, but she was like, but can we actually trust any man, women? And I'm sitting up here like, first of all, Sequoia, nobody believed that bullshit when it came out your fucking mouth. And if they did, they dumb as fuck. Okay? I knew you was on some fuck shit. I knew you were just dedicated to seeing your mother unhappy because you got a chip on your shoulder and you want camera time and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Next. And Sequoia, you are coming off thirsty as fuck. Okay? Like, I mean, a serious thirst bucket for somebody who doesn't even or rarely shows his own eyes because he stays smoking. No, I don't believe he stopped, but okay, girl. Anyway, so Sequoia, her cousin, Eric, Aaliyah, and Twist meet up at the brewery. I don't even know what the point of this scene was other than embarrass the entire fuck out of Sequoia. So Twist came in with a hat. Did y'all notice that hat had the tag on it? Child help. Lord. All right, tag on it. I just can't. So Twist decided to go and talk to Sequoia separately, right? And she's flirting or whatever. And he told her clearly, I have to give it to him. clearly and succinctly, straight, no chaser. Like, we gotta chill. We gotta stop all this flirting. And he said he's just trying to work things out with his girlfriend, and he's getting too tempted, and he really wants to make this work. And it does seem like he really cares for this young lady that we saw. And just the short of the long story is he don't want you, Sequoia. Because even if he wanted you sexually, he would have fucked you. Like, I could have told you that. I could just tell he's just not interested for whatever reason. And she looked like she was like, yeah, I understand 100%. Whenever somebody says I understand 100%, in my experience, they barely understand 60%, but okay. And she looked like she wanted to cry and was just trying to keep it together. I guess because she was really embarrassed. I hope it's not because she really likes him that much. But anyway, so TT is on her way to see Egypt. I don't know why this cracked me up. TT is going crazy in the car and said there's nowhere to stop unless you want to buy fireworks. And the reason why I just laughed when I heard that, because I was like, yeah, if you get stuck in the state of Georgia, outside Atlanta, yep, that's a fact. I've driven cross country from LA to New York after I finished graduate school, and like the middle of nowhere places. I remember thinking as a black person, like, damn, we ain't gonna never be free. If this is what we up against, I'm telling you. Okay, she was like, it just feels unsafe. I was thinking to myself, shit, because it is. Anyway, Twist goes to see a pastor at the Oasis Church in LA and starts telling his story. I don't believe in having children become stars, especially not rap stars. Okay, he moved out when he was 14. How the fuck you move out your house when you're 14? Like, and he said he was always forced to go to church when he was home. How the hell does that happen? And I get the Lil Wayne shit and all that other shit. That shit is not cool. I'm sorry. And he claims he went on a spiral. So he's asking Pastor Julian, let me tell you something. The Oasis Church, and I don't have to have been to know better, is let me explain something. Is a corporation that uses God and faith as a marketing tool. Okay? It's one of those mega churches that have multiple locations in multiple places, the same way you would have Five Guys in multiple places, Targets in multiple places. And they just claim to be a church that are using people, and especially so-called celebrities, to market it. I'm not here for false prophets. That's basically what I'm getting at. All right. Now he tells him to go get a journal and write things down that he wants God to help him with. Okay, but like a therapist could have told you that. Like Bree could have told you. She wasn't them people that like journal and paint. Bye. Anyway, Aaliyah is home with the kids. Now this is the part that got me. I'm convinced there are things after the scene that I was convinced of. I'm convinced Eric has an addiction to gambling. Okay. I'm also convinced that their children lack serious home training. And I blame both of them. That's not a mother or father thing, that's both parent thing. That little boy lied to his mother about having completed his homework. And his sister was like, how did you finish it and your pencil is broken? And he continues to play this video game with this orange do-rag on his head. Then she tells him, she's like, Eric, get off the game and do some of your homework. I was thinking to myself, some? What the fuck? And he has the motherfucking nerve to raise his voice and say, okay, and keep playing. I said, oh, hell, fuck no. My mother, first of all, that wouldn't have even crossed my mind to one, lie to my mother about that shit, and two, damn sure catch an attitude and act like I'm not going to stop doing what you just told me to stop doing. Are you kidding me right now? How y'all expect these kids to grow up and do anything with their life? Never mind. I done seen too many. Never mind. I ain't gonna start. Eric comes home and he's locked out. I said, yes, Aaliyah, go off. She said, ain't gonna be no more coming in 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You left your keys. I'm starting to think maybe you didn't leave your keys. Maybe Aaliyah knows where you put your keys in your pocket, pulled them out, and was like, I'm gonna pull this stunt. Do what you gotta do, sis, to get your house together. So Eric goes to his grandmother's house, basically to tell her that he got locked out and look for advice, and his uncle is there. His grandmother still looks young. She looks good. To have great grandchildren, she looks amazing. So he says because he was at the casino too long, and he essentially blames his grandmother and grandfather for gambling. Well, that's where I got it from. I learned it from y'all. See, that's how I know it's a problem. I can tell you it's a problem because he has nothing but excuses. He's blaming everybody but himself for his behavior. With his grown ass at his big age, with 6 motherfucking kids. Sir, get it together. Period. Okay? And he says, yeah, I'm always on the road working on stuff and I do all this work. And I'm thinking to myself, Ninja, when? What you on the road doing? I don't give a shit about your dispensary that is in LA. Cut it out. So then he's telling his grandma and uncle and says, well, it's not a problem. It's just that she doesn't get it. No, Eric, she gets it. It's just that you're wrong. And I'm glad that you have people around you who don't uphold you in your wrong. It don't seem to be helping you in terms of you yourself, but people who are checking you. And like his grandma said, yeah, the difference is when I go to the casino, I don't have to answer to nobody else. You do. And that's facts. And then Eric started comparing himself to Eazy-E as a father and saying, well, the difference was, she was like, no, your father spent time with y'all. He was like, yeah, he spent a lot of time with us. He was like, but he didn't have a wife to have to answer to. And his grandmother said, you should be thankful that you have one. And that's facts. And considering how Eazy-E passed, and this isn't judgment. I mean, I think there's a lesson in his mother saying what his grandmother saying to him, that, like having that kind of discipline in terms of sexually and learning from those mistakes. Not judgment, but just learning. But the other part of this is, Eric, I'm going to need you to not compare yourself to your father. No Tino Shea, Eazy-E is a legendary rapper. And he was on the road selling out tours, sir. And this was back when hip hop was hip hop, but was considered ghetto, trash, had not been Columbus by white people yet. And they had to fight for every performance and dime they had. Okay? So let's not act like you have the same struggle as your father. Cut it out. Be a man. All right? So Twist is practicing for a performance. I'm gonna be honest, it actually didn't sound bad. It actually was kind of like real techno, like cool. It sounded good. Lazy shows up. And before I could start, like, oh, here's Lazy showing up again, somebody calls telling him that his mother isn't going to make it. I imagine it must have been his brother. His mother passed and he had to stop filming. All I can say is God have mercy. There can't be a greater pain than losing a mother or a child. So prayers up for him and his family as they try to deal with that grief. I don't wish that on anybody. I know I joke and play around on here, but I don't wish that on anybody. So TT shows up to visit Egypt in her new house after an hour and a half Uber ride. That must have been a scary Uber ride, right? You don't know where you're going and shit. TT literally told her Uber driver to keep the car running and that she was only going for a few minutes. TT is a mess. Oh my gosh. So TT then says, well, she wants some snacks. She asked Egypt, like, well, do you have snacks? Like, and she was reading Egypt's house, okay? And telling her, basically, all up in her pants, telling her all the food is bad. This is what the baby can't have. All this other shit. TT is so bougie naturally. And I think that's why it's so funny to me. Because she's not, some people try to perform like, oh, I'm too good for this and I don't do this. And to me, and I especially saw this when I was in college, and there were girls who pretended like that, and I could tell. I could tell how much they didn't grow up with and how much of it was a performance by how they had to tell people how much money they spent on things, this, that, and the other. With their refund checks, I was thinking to myself, anybody who grew up with things knows you don't go and pay full price for that shit. You shop off season. Like, I can tell you didn't grow up with a lot. But I'm just saying. So Egypt and TT, well, Egypt said TT is judgmental. She is. Egypt, you're right. And that she doesn't want to show her whole house until she's done. And that's a good idea because you don't want to give TT, no, because she already don't like Sam. Now, she loves you, but I think she's trying to get back to the point where she likes you. All right. Now, Egypt is telling her about the wedding, and apparently Sam and Sean have a beef. A beef I forgot about. I was like, dang, both their little pale boyfriends' husbands got beef. So she says, well, it's not that Sean isn't invited. He can come with you. And TT says, thank you. Then they show in the confessional. She was like, I still don't know if Sean's invited. I don't know if Sean want to go. I was thinking to myself, TT, you don't want to go, and Sean better not make the mistake of ever even pretending like he's willing to support that. Anything opposite of what you think. Okay? Um, and TT keeps reading Egypt's house and tells her she needs to deep clean and that she needs to baby proof because parts of her house look like death traps. And then TT, I'm thinking to myself, still hasn't found a home to settle in LA. Girl, chill. At least Egypt got the structure together. You the one looking for a house. Now, is it me or did Egypt in the confessional? And it may have just been me because I'm not trying to. I don't want to do that to a young mother or a young black woman like that. But was it me or did Egypt look like in the confessional like she had work done on her face? And I was thinking to myself, why did this pretty black girl do this to her face? But then I don't know if maybe sometimes, because sometimes like in pregnancy, like your nose may spread, or at least people in my family have done that. Things change, but it looked like work. And I was thinking to myself, I hope this girl didn't go and fuck up her pretty face. Anyway, so Egypt tells TT, you have to come by again once it's all done. TT said, I'm never coming back. This episode wasn't really much, but it gave us enough. But anyway, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.